So, hello and welcome back to our series of tutorial on a structured project design related to machine learning and creating a production ready machine learning application. So in our previous videos, we have worked through the basics of pre-processing with Python, okay, that we have seen, and we created some custom data transformation classes, and we also worked upon understanding how to handle the missing values, feature engineering and more. So now we will go ahead from here. Okay. So before going ahead from here, there was a slight change that you can do in the previous script. Here it should be self dot variables to modify because we are accessing these variable within the class and it is a part of method. So this small change please do in the data pre-processing. Now we are taking everything that we have learned so far to the next level by introducing the concept of pipeline, right? And concept of pipelines in the machine learning. Okay, so pipelines are like the glue that holds your pre-processing steps together, making your code cleaner, reusable and easier to maintain and manage. Okay, that's the purpose of pipeline. And of course we will tie it all together with a practical example using pipeline module from sklearn. Now question over here, why we should use pipeline? Okay, so before we are going to use pipeline, the sklearn pipeline, let's understand what exactly a pipeline is. So to understand it, let's consider an example that you have to bake a cake. Now you don't just grab the random ingredients and throw them into the oven, right? You follow a structured process, right? Like mixing the ingredients, preheating the oven, and then baking it. Okay, so there is a structured process that you have to follow, isn't it? So similarly, in machine learning, pre-processing involves multiple steps like filling the missing values, encoding the categorical variables, scaling the features, and applying transformations. Pipelines actually allows us to define and execute all these steps in a sequential and automated manner, ensuring a consistency and reducing the chances of any errors. All right. So without pipeline, you would have to manually call each pre-processing function, isn't it? Whatever the pre-processing function you created, you have to just manually call them and making your code messy and prone to mistakes, right? So, but with the pipeline, it's like having a recipe you can follow every time. So that's the chances of error will be lesser and code will also be easy to maintain and manage. Now let's say how can we build one? Okay, what? Pipeline. So for building up the pipeline, first of all, we'll import all the necessary modules and libraries that we required. For example, here we need to import from sklearn dot pipeline import pipeline. All right. Thereafter, this is an inbuilt module. In this using this pipeline inbuilt module, we'll just create a sequence of process. Like first, filling up missing values for the numerical, then non-numerical, then data encoding, then domain preprocessing, then log transformation, thereafter min-max scaling, thereafter training. So these all things will define one by one. Thereafter, I have to import from what? Loan app dot config import config. Why we need it? Because all the configurations are defined over here, all the files and everything. Now I'll just import over here from loan app dot processing. Okay, import dot data pre-processing, isn't it? So within the data pre-processing, we have different class responsible for your data transformation or data pre-processing. So let's use over a import this one as a pp. Okay, so data pre-processing module we are representing with pp. Thereafter from sklearn dot pre-processing import min-max scaler. Next we'll just import a library for the training. So from sklearn dot linear model import linear regression. So now these library I imported. Let's see if this is showing any error. So as I executed it, so we'll wait for just few seconds to see if this is showing any error. In case it shows any error, we'll fix it. Okay. So here again the config thing, no module name, no app. Reason you already know, because we need to add this line into the code here before defining the config. Here we can do it. Okay. And then I can just import over here sys, and then I can import over here os. Now job is done. I guess things are working. Next, what we have to do? We have to just define our pipeline. So the pipeline module from the sklearn will help us to put the things into a sequence or create a sequence of our pre-processing steps. Then custom pre-processing classes that we build, like mean imputer, mode imputer, will be used to fill up the missing values, and min max scaler for scaling, and logistic regression for the training of the model. Now we'll just define our pipeline. So let's see here, classification pipeline will be equals to what? Will be equals to pipeline that we had imported over here. All right, and this is a function, right? So this is what we do, and then we define a list, and within this list, whatever the things we want, we will just define it one by one. Okay, like for example, first I need mean imputation, so I'll just define over here mean imputation. Okay, so mean imputation using what? Using pp dot the mean imputer, that I'll call it. pp is pre-processing file dot mean imputer is my class. So mean imputer. Next, I have to do the mode imputer over. Okay, fine. Mean imputer. Now here also I have to feed something. See, this is a class. This class is having a constructor. So this constructor is defined with a variable. That means while defining or calling this class, I need to do what? I need to pass the value over here. So what should the value over here? The value will be config dot the numerical features on which we have to do the mean imputation. So it should be numerical features. Okay, now it's good. Next, I have to do the mode imputer. Mode imputation. So what is mode imputation? pp dot, I'll just call over here mode imputer, and here I have to feed what? Config dot what? Categorical features. That's it. Next, I need to do what? Domain processing. Okay. So what is domain processing? It's like pp dot, we have a domain processing, right? And for the domain processing, I need to pass two things. One is called variables to modify, and other is your variables to add. Okay. So what is variables to modify? It's like config dot, I have already defined in the config. I have defined over here, but variables to modify is what? Features to modify I have defined over here, right? Features to modify. Nice. So what I do, I'll just call it config dot features to modify. Okay. And variables to add will be what? Config dot features to add. Feature to add. All right. So this is done. So this is your domain pre-processing. It will be done over here. That looks good. I guess there is no such error over here. Anyway, in case if it will be error, we'll just try to fix it later on. Then I have to drop the column. So which column I have to drop? Obviously, after doing this thing, we need to drop which column? The co-applicant income. So I'll call over here pp dot, the function name is drop columns, and here I have to feed config dot the columns that I need to drop. So I can call over here drop features. So directly it will drop that feature that I want to drop. Next, it's like label encoder. Okay, label encoder. So where do we have to apply the label encoder logic? The label encoder logic will be applied pp dot custom label encoder. This will be applied in the categorical columns. So pp dot, or we have already defined over here feature to encode, right? So config dot feature to encode. All right, this is done. So label encoding will also be done. Now we have to do the log transformation. So log transform. Okay. So for doing the log transformation, we have a class over here. Name is pp.log transformation. Some name that I must have defined. Custom labeling domain processing. Where is it? Log transformation. Okay. And then I call config dot what? The log features. All right. Next, I need to do what? I need to do the min max scaling. So let's say min max scaler. Okay. This will be what? Config, or you can say pp dot, not pp exactly. It is an inbuilt scikit-learn module we are using. Next, we have to train the model. So for training of the model, I'll define logistic regression. Okay. And then I can just call over here logistic regression. Logistic. So had I imported it, if I had imported it, then why it is not showing? Because I had imported linear regression, it should be imported logistic regression. Now it's good. Okay, so I'll just copy and paste it over here. Okay, so now my pipeline is almost created, okay, which is responsible, which will do all the required operations before let the model get trained. Next, we will complete our training pipeline file, which is a final file, which will make use of this pipeline process and will trigger the training process for the model to get trained. And finally, after the training, the model will get saved at the trained model directory. So we'll see soon about the training process, about how can we trigger the training process. Meanwhile, just complete it and let me know if you find any difficulty, any problem related to it. Just comment down your any kind of questions that you have. We'll see you soon in the next video. Thank you everyone. Take care. Stay safe.